90% of dudes rapping, they ain't nice as me. 98% ain't live the same type of life as me. The judge gave me life and then they sent me where the life is be. That level 4 with depth and vice, the type of stuff they like to see. Two choices, fight or flee. I refuse to die a chump. I never been a mark, but damn, it's scary when that riot jump. I seen dudes cry, get punked, and some sexually brutalized. Knew a dude who lost his life and he was only doing 5 year-long racial fights when homie all you do is ride. Lonely days and nights up in a hole causing suicide. From the moment you arrive, you see the Mexican mafia. AB skinheads with big giant swastikas. Pro-black philosophers, the BGF, the Kumi, and Muslims who will murk you from the nation to the Sunni. That MS was loony, quick to ride up on they rival. Even Christians went to church, hide knives up in a Bible. Political and tribal, the Crips and Damus, the Long Beach, the Hubs and the Dubs and the Grooves, the IE, the Bakersfield, the Dago Pyrus, the hustlers quick to roll, the gangsters gon' move. Whatever click you choose, you better stick.
Say what's cracking, YouTube? It's your boy 16 to life, and I'm back like I'm on a parole violation. Guard down. Now, for those of y'all that's new to my page, in 1994, I got arrested. I was eventually sentenced to 16 years plus life, and I served 24 years straight in the California prison system. During those times, I accumulated some good stories. I'm going to share one with y'all today. If you like the story, be sure to hit that like button, comment, subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet, and most importantly, be sure to hit your notification bell. That way, anytime I drop a story, you will be notified ASAP Rocky, and you can hop on it whenever you're ready. Now, this right here is part 2 to my Doing Time with Big U and other celebrities. So, people often ask me about some of the more recognizable or celebrity type convicts that I've done time with. So, the next dude we're going to be talking about is a rapper who goes by the name of Pt.2. Now, for those of you guys that's not familiar with Pt.2, Pt.2 is a Crip from Long Beach, and he also was in a rap group that featured himself, of course, Goldie Loc, and the one and only Snoop Dogg. He had a couple albums. I think the first album was called The Eastsiders. The second album was called Deuces and Trades. And so if you guys ain't familiar with that, definitely be sure to go check that out, man. So I ran across Pt.2 at a prison known as California Men's Colony on the East Yard. So one day he just happened to pop up, you know, and people was like, hey man, you know, Trey D is here, or whatever the rapper dude, right? And so later on, once he hit the yard, there was a couple of dudes that I guess was familiar with him and already had knew him. One of them being my partner, Spoon. Spoon was from, give me a second here, let me remember where Spoon was from. Oh, Spoon was from Gardena, Shotgun. And then there was another friend of mine by the name of Emmanuel. We used to call him E, you know what I'm saying? And he was real good friends with Trey D as well. I knew both of them extremely well, so they would tell me from time to time, hey man, come over here, man, and rap for Trey D and this and that. But I was like, no, man, you know, I don't want to do that and stuff. So my thing was this here, right? In the event I happened to meet the dude, I wanted it to be just a natural meeting like I would meet anybody else. I didn't want to seem like, you know, I was over there, you know, trying to holler at him because he was signed or he had knew Snoop or whatever his situation was, you know. I just wanted the meeting to be natural, you know what I'm saying, if I happened to meet the brother. And so, you know what, we did end up meeting later on, man. So what happened is he approached me about borrowing one of my CDs. I had a bunch of instrumental CDs because I used to rap, you know. And so, yeah, he wanted to borrow my Chronic CD, my Dr. Dre, the Chronic instrumental. So, of course, you know, I let him use it. And so later on, I found out what they was doing was they was making an album from prison. And so they end up making an album, and the name of that album is called, or actually maybe a mixtape. The name of that mixtape is called it's called Long Beach State of Mind. So if you get a chance, go check that out. Actually, it came out pretty good, man. And so I end up let him use that CD. And so we began, that's how our friendship or our acquaintance or whatever you want to call it, that's how that began, you know. So later on, you know, we play a little bit of basketball together. He was a cool, regular type dude. You know, we played basketball together. He played a lot of handball too. I didn't play handball, but we talked a little bit on the basketball court. I never got around, you know, to rapping for him, or I don't ever believe he ever rapped on the yard either. But you know, like I say, he was just a cool and regular dude. My homie did tell me about a time when he was on a tier with him, right? And CMC, it's like I call it. It looks like a long college dorm. You know, the hallways is real long and it's 3 floors and the walls are extremely thin. And so if someone is right above you, he can talk in your vent and you can hear him, and you guys can communicate, or he can talk to one of his friends or whatever. So one day my homie was telling me there happened to be a dude upstairs, I guess, that was rapping and beating on the table. He didn't realize that, you know, everybody can hear him beating on the table and stuff like that. So I believe Trey D hollered a time or two, you know, through the vent, asked him to be, you know, could he be quiet or whatever, but maybe the dude didn't happen to hear, you know what I'm saying? And so he continued beating, and Trey D went out on the tier and said, "Hey man, who was the homosexual that keep beating on the damn table, making all that noise?" So then I guess the dude heard that, and the dude happened to be a young dude from up north. I don't know if he was from Richmond or Oakland, up that way from somewhere. Then he heard him say that. Excuse me. He stepped out. He said, "Hey, excuse me, man, that was me, my bad, man. I didn't hear, you know, I didn't know that I was disturbing you or whatever." So while Trey D was a calm, cool dude like anybody else, he definitely was a real gangster, and he was really about that business. You know what I'm saying? He just wasn't one of these so-called studio gangsters or dudes that's in the booth just rapping and stuff. You know, he was really an official dude living that life. I had another homie tell me a story about him too when they was down there in the county together, San Bernardino County. I don't know how he ended up getting locked up out there, but my homie told me it was some dudes lightweight looking at him or whatever. I don't want to say where they was from, but Trey D turned around, was like, "Hey, what's up? Y'all got a problem or something? Y'all staring at me? What's up?" And so and then he said, "Not," because my homies at first didn't know if Trey D was talking to him. He said, "No, not y'all. I'm talking to them dudes over there." You know, and so my homie said the dudes who he was talking to definitely didn't want no problems, man. And I've heard several stories about that dude just handling his business. You know, he's a real street official dude, man. And like I say, other than that though, he was a real cool dude, man. One time I happened to be on a visit, and my homie happened to come to visit me. And so he said, "Hey man, is that Trey D?" Or I think he may have said, "Man, I heard Trey D is up here," or something. I said, "Yeah, there we go right there," or something like that. But he's like, "Oh, that's Trey D, that's him right there. Can I go over there and say what's up? You think it'd be cool?" I said, "Well, you know what? Not really, homie, because you know he out here, he visiting with his family more than likely. You know, he probably want to just chill and enjoy his visit." And then my homie was like, "Oh, okay." So then a day or two later, when we got back to the yard, I had told Trey D, "Yeah, my homie had saw you. He had wanted to come over there and holler at you." But I told him just to kick back. But Trey D was like, "Oh no, it's all good, man. He could have came over and said what's up, you know." So he definitely was a cool dude that was, you know, down to earth. The next dude I'm gonna talk about is Bruce Davis. So in the event you guys don't see me talk about Bruce Davis, is because I had to edit it out because YouTube lately has got real finicky on what you can and can't say. So I'm gonna try to measure my words. Basically, okay, Bruce Davis, for those of y'all who don't know, happened to be a member of the Charles Manson family, and he was sentenced to life, I believe, back in the 60s somewhere, for two homicides. He wasn't caught up in the more famous Tate LaBianca crimes, but for 2 other crimes. So now, around the time that I ran across him, he probably was in his late 60s, you know, somewhere around there, man. The dude was an extremely small dude. He was probably about 5'6", maybe about 145 pounds. By that time I ran across him, like I say, he was an older dude. He gave his life to the Lord, and he definitely didn't seem threatening in any shape or fashion. You know, for those of you guys who are familiar with the Charles Manson story and stuff like that, back when it happened, that crime garnered nationwide attention, man. Nationwide attention and stuff. You know, Charles Manson had a bunch of followers and stuff like that, and you know, it was said that they was trying to start a war among races, and so it just that it was bad. The death penalty had been made or considered inhumane in California, and so that's how he ended up getting life. eventually he ended up being found suitable for by the California Prison Parole Board. But actually, he was found suitable 7 times. But each time he would be found suitable, the governor in California has the power, even though you go to the board and they find you suitable, which means basically they're saying, okay, you are now reformed and it's okay for you to go home. The governor in California has the power to reverse the ruling of the parole board commissioners. And so that happened to him 7 times. So what happens is when you go to the board, if they find you suitable, you have to wait 150 days for the governor to look over, for the T's to be crossed, the I's to be dotted, and then you can go home, or the governor can reverse the findings. And so that would happen to him each time. So once the governor reversed the findings, then you'd go back to square one. You'd have to wait maybe another year and a half, 2 years for another parole hearing, go through the whole experience again. That happened to him 7 times in a row. So he just went recently in 2022, and this time when he went, he was denied. He most definitely is a political prisoner, and he knows that he's never getting out. We used to be in some self-help classes together called LTOP, and LTOP was an acronym for Long-Term Offenders Pilot Program. So anyway, around that time, I believe it was maybe 2015, 2014, whenever it was, he went to the board and was found suitable. But he came back, and I'd seen him, and I spoke to him a couple of different times. I'd seen him. I told him, hey, man, congratulations. He said, oh, man, they're not going to let me go. They're not going to let me go. So he basically knew that he was a political prisoner, and that every time that he was found suitable, they was going to take his suitability. So that's unfortunate for him. More likely than not, he will pass away in prison. I believe now he's probably about 79, somewhere around there, man. So the next dude who I was locked up with is a guy by the name of DeAndre Bonds. I ran across him in Ironwood in 2003 on Sea Yard. Now, for those of you guys not familiar with DeAndre Bonds, he has played in several movies. He played in a movie by the name of Get on the Bus with Spike Lee, directed that movie. He played in a movie that was called 3 Strikes, and also a movie that was called The Wood. Right now, I believe he's currently playing in a movie or playing in a series that's called Snowfall on FX, I believe. That's the channel that it comes on, and he plays a character by the name of Scully. So if you guys are convinced in any of these roles that he's playing, that's just giving more accolades to his acting, because he is definitely nothing like that, man. The dude had a hard time in prison, and I'm just keeping it 100, man. Hey, listen, they was pressing that dude like a wrinkled pair of church slacks. They was on his hell meat, though, heavy, you know what I'm saying? And so when he came to prison, he happened to be, he was non-affiliate, right? And so this is what happened. He came to the building, right? My homeboy was a porter in the building, and I did a story about this, and I'll leave that link to the story so you guys can go check it out. But my homeboy happened to recognize him first. My homeboy was like, damn, man, I know you from somewhere. And initially, DeAndre Bonds was like, oh, nah. So my homie would take him books, because he was in the cell where he had to wait a few days to be okay to come to the yard. So my homie would take him books and stuff, all the blacks. My homie would take all the blacks books, or if they wanted, if they had a homie on the yard they wanted to send a message to, he'd relay a message and stuff like that. So each time my homie would take him a book or go holler at him to ask him, was he cool? My homeboy was like, damn, man, I know you somewhere, man. Did we do time together in another pen? So eventually it dawned on my homeboy that he had seen this dude in a movie. So I guess the dude was a little bit skeptical of letting people know, because of course he's in prison. He don't want people to be tripping on him behind thinking that he is has a lot of money or whatever, right? So he ended up, getting released from the reception cell and being able to come to the yard, and they end up moving him, and they moved him to the gym, which still was on the yard. And just the nature of prison, eventually, dudes got to pressing him. Like I said, he wasn't affiliated with the Crips or the Bloods, but unfortunately for him, sometimes in some of the roles he plays these street characters, these gang members. And so I guess people expected him to be like the characters that he played. You know, he ended up getting into a fight or two up in there, and my homie was basically, he would come and tell my homie, you know, because my homie stayed talking to him once he was released from the reception cell, and he would tell my homie that he was really having a tough time, man. And so my homie told him, hey, well, listen, man, what you gonna have to do is, man, you're gonna have to make an example out of one of them dudes and let them know that you're nothing to be played with, man. Put you a lock in the sock, and next time one of them dudes mess with you, go upside his head, man. And so he really wasn't feeling that, you know what I'm saying? He was more thinking of the lines of exit stage left, you know, I gotta get up out of here, man. So what the dude ended up going to do is talking to the sergeant or lieutenant and told him, hey man, I feel my life is in danger, and I gotta get up off the yard, you know what I'm saying? And so man, they rode the dude up, basically, you know. And I'm just keeping it 100 like I always do, man. That was the best choice that dude could have made. By that dude being non-affiliate, had he done something to one of them Bloods or a Crip or whatever, every prison he went to, they would have been on his helmito behind that. You know what I'm saying? Oh, that's the dude, man, that did this to the homie or did that to the homie. Or he could have messed around, hit somebody with a lock in the sock, or got a knife, stabbed somebody, and extended his stay. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, it's unfortunate, like I said before, that the dude wasn't celebrated, man. You know, it's unfortunate that dudes felt that he should have been victimized because of they assumed that he may have had a lot of money. But yeah, he had it bad up in there, man. And but now look at it. You know, he got out, got back acting. He's you know, he's playing in another movie, another series, Snowfall, which seems to be a hit. He's doing well for himself. So, you know, congratulations to that dude, man. Another dude I happened to run across, and some of y'all might have to be a little older, around my age or somewhere around there, maybe a little younger. I ran across J.O. Felony, man. Now, J.O. Felony is a rapper and a Crip from San Diego. Now, one thing I like about J.O. Felony, if you go and listen to his music today, you know, because a lot of music from that era, it doesn't, if we happen to play it, it doesn't sound as good today as it sounded back then. But no, his music is still bumping, man. And to keep it 100, right, I did like, and I never really, me and him had a small conversation or two, you know, like I say, because y'all know I'm not supposed to be, you know, pushing up on no dude on no, you know, like starstruck status or whatever. But to keep it 100, I did kind of want to ask him a couple of questions, only because his situation was intriguing to me due to the fact that he was a West Coast gangster rapper, but he had been signed to Def Jam, which is a East Coast quote unquote hip hop type of a label. So I was just curious to know his situation, curious to know, you know, how did he wind up being signed to a Def Jam and stuff like that, man. And once again, he was another dude that was cool, just a regular dude, man, on the yard, you know, just chilling, man. Actually, he was real good friends with one of my partners, man, my partner Rich from Desert Hot Springs. They used to kick it. Well, I believe they was at another prison together. Oh, that's right. My homie told me they were cellies at another prison together. And that's how they became so cool. And so actually, maybe about, I don't know, 7 or 8 months ago, I got at my homie about trying to do an interview with J.O. Felony, and he told the homie, yeah, it was good, but then the homie ended up moving and we kind of lost contact or whatever. So I never did get to do the interview, man, but it was you know, it was something that I was interested in doing, because like I say, I was just curious about his situation, and his music still bangs today, man. There was another dude who I was locked up with, and this brother goes by the name of G Perico. He's a rapper up out of Los Angeles. And to be honest, everybody or some of the homies who I was locked up with at CMC was telling me, man, you remember him? But I don't remember him. But he happened to be on the yard, but I don't remember him and stuff. So also Cowboy. Yeah, I'm talking about Cowboy, the dude who was a real close friend and business associate of the rapper Nipsey Hussle. You know, he's another individual who I never spoke to. At the time when he was on the yard, I didn't even know that he was associated with Nipsey Hussle. And I don't believe they was popping like that then. You know what I'm saying? I believe that after he got out, me and him was doing time together. That's when he may have went out there and got more famous being, you know, for being whatever him and Nipsey Hussle was. But later on, once I happened to see him on YouTube, his face looked familiar. And I said, man, wasn't that dude at CMC2? And I asked somebody and they said, like, yeah, man, he was up there. So yeah, Cowboy, he's another dude that I was locked up with. And also, once again, you guys have to be a little older to remember, Ice Cube had a group that was called the Lynch Mob. And there was a dude there who used to rap in that group, and his name was JD. And so he's another dude who I never really met. He also happened to be in that L-Top program that I was telling you guys about earlier, that the same classes that some of the classes that I took with Bruce Davis, and JD happened to be there too. And so we spoke a little bit, you know, just high and by and stuff like that, man. But he happened to be there as well, man. Also, there's another individual who I've done some time with, but I never really formally met him. This dude is more infamous than famous or whatever. Little Football. So I don't know if you guys remember when the riots jumped off in '92, when the cops were acquitted for beating Rodney King. And you happen to see, it was all over the news then. There was a trucker who had got snatched out of his truck, and he got hit. Somebody hit him with a brick. Well, that dude who hit him with the brick, or who was accused and convicted of hitting him with the brick, was a dude by the name of Little Football. And he happened to be on the yard. Like I said, I never really talked to him or nothing like that. But right before I paroled in 2018, I did meet and become somewhat relatively well acquainted with his older brother, Big Football. And so at the time, I had already been found suitable. So I was waiting. I was just basically waiting to come home. I was waiting for my time to elapse and go home. Well, Big Football, he was a lifer. And so, you know, we used to talk and go to some self-help classes and, you know, just stuff like that, man. We was in the same building. We became acquainted, used to talk and chop it up a little bit. And so those are just some of the more notable dudes that I ran across. Anyway, I ran across a few more, but like I say, lately, YouTube has been real finicky on what I can say. I did a story earlier talking about a few of the guys, and the story didn't get monetized. And while I didn't cuss or use any cuss words, I guess maybe just speaking about the case or whatever, you know, and stuff like that, for whatever reason, it didn't get monetized. So I had to do the story again and not talk about those cases or whatever. So anyway, you already know what it is, man. It's your boy 16 to life. Resume normal program.
Them crackers let me out the gate, now the pressure's on. We about to get this shit straight like a pressing comb. The wrong cat to get aggressive on. I bring the bitch up out of niggas while you think they got them dresses on. My reach long and that's the best type. To have some dirty white boys come and smoke you like a meth pipe. And leave your chest bright red like a fire truck. Kicking your mom's door at night, nigga, and tie her up. I'm wild as fuck and I'm respected by the new youth. I put this pistol in their ear like a Bluetooth. I blow their brains on their new coupe. And have red everywhere just like a function full of soup whoops. Tell your troops I deal with beef like a butcher. My 4-5 pump more guys than Ashton Kutcher. Line pusher, quick to bury your clown. Nigga, I stayed in the park like the merry-go-round. Get it?
The game greasy, bitch, the game need me. Oh, you niggas don't know my name. The game greasy, bitch, the game need me. I'm out here doing my thing. The game greasy, bitch, the game need me. I swear and I know. The game greasy, bitch, the game need me.